Hey guys, this is Afro Taku and another year has flown by. I recall New Year's Day 2022 like it was only yesterday. I say that like it's the first time I said a statement like that. I haven't vlogged what the past year was like for me, at least not in video form, but this one in particular has some significance given what I'm planning to hopefully get done, so let's get to it. I made it no secret that I'm really not digging the 2020s. Can you really blame me? We're on year 3 into this pandemic with no signs of it going away anytime soon. Though for some people, this major shift of everyday life is the only thing they have to worry about. Unlike me and a few others, who have to go through major life-shattering changes that have really taken a toll on our mental health. Coupled with tons of regret and self-reflection haunting me, and COVID giving me very few avenues to cope with all of it. 2020 will go down as perhaps the worst year of my life for personal reasons. 2021 was just the aftermath of it, with those said personal reasons getting worse. So where does that leave 2022? Well, this might sound a bit shocking, but I consider 2022 to be marginally better. Keyword being marginally. That's not to say it was perfect, given that my dad, brother, and I got COVID while up in Carmel, resulting in quite a mixed start to it all, which led to a few weeks of being the most depressed I've ever been. But then I started going to this adult achievement center called My Day Counts, and that's where things started to look up for me. Though, not right away because I wasn't too excited about it at first. For one, it was another instance where I had no other choice but to be put into this work program because finding actual work in the real world is such an impossible pain for me. It wasn't even the first time I've been to this place before. Though the place did look a little different, and even with new remodeling. The program seemed really draining at first. Having to be around people who are not only lower functioning than me, but also even older than me, which made me feel even more down. To the point where I started to ask myself once again, what am I doing with my life? But not long after I started going there, I joined the college group, and that's where things got better. Though again, it didn't get better overnight. There were still some individuals in the class that tested my patience, but that was where I made some very good new friends, and that even included the instructors that were running it. It almost resulted in this nice little throwback to my school years and even a bit of my college years too, where I made some really nice connections and bonds that defined those eras of my life. Though another positive I found with going to My Day Counts, aside from the work experience, was all the art I drew during my break times. This became a pretty good outlet for me to draw whatever ideas popped into my mind, never ending as it may seem. Seriously, where previous years the page count was usually a single digit, this year I managed to get almost 14 pages worth of art on my DA. Which is funny given that I considered leaving DA once 2022 came around. Maybe there wasn't as much art related to my own original creations, but, well, that doesn't get the most attention now, does it? Although the OC art I did draw did get more traction in previous years. On top of that, while the work building wasn't always a picnic, it was certainly nice to get out and be productive in certain parts of the county, and of course, forming better bonds with my friends. These would include cleaning up at the Muckenthaler, reading to the disabled, working out and cleaning up at a gym, and even some actual stock work at a Walgreens, which was the type of work I've been trying to get for years now. Besides my dream career, that is. There were other highlights too, like posting some of my most successful YouTube videos, and they were shit posts that threw some shade. getting into more anime, getting some writing done, and another event that I'll get to later. So with all that said, aside from the typical frustrations, this year in theory was a pretty big improvement. Yeah, I'm placed into another job program, but it's made me more productive with my drawing skills, socializing, work building, and those few happier moments that made each new day all the worthwhile. And then fall came around. Remember my last vlog where I said that the 2020s so far have been very eventful for me, but not for the right reasons? Well, that sadly didn't change. Dare I say, things kinda got worse. And it does relate to the whole health theme. Let's just say that me and 2 other family members getting COVID wasn't the last of our sickly problems. Not for me, anyway. But sometime in October, I was told by my mom to come downstairs and sit at the table with the rest of my family. And we were told about my dad gaining health problems. Serious health problems. That resulted in him having to go on a special diet of nothing but fruits and veggies and nothing fattening. I'll just leave it at that, though maybe some of you might have an idea as to why we had to result in that change for his sake. As you can tell, this resulted in some pretty stressful, uncertain times for my family, especially since it was also the same time my mom had to get surgery on her knee, resulting in a good chunk of the year of her staying home and not really working. Coupled with my dad's medical bills and the various trips for veggies and special water, made any financial struggles we had 10 times worse. When this bombshell hit, a part of me felt glad that I at least had this one particular friend still in my life, especially with what he had to go through in the past. Hell, I even did end up seeing him when he came down here for his convention and had a good time with them. I also saw this as the perfect time to gain more distractions. Whether it was watching anime, playing video games, those rare cases of video making, and most importantly, working on art and your creative projects. In terms of my book, it has been pretty hard to write the middle part of the story, so I thought I could ask that friend if he could read it and give me some ideas where to take it. Which leads me to my next low point of last fall. When I asked this friend to read the book, he said he would be delighted. So I waited. And waited. And it continued due to his real life. But at the start of November, he said he had the week off and promised me to read the book. Then he got sick, but said he'll read it by the weekend. And when I asked him in our last call, he said he couldn't find the document I shared with him. And it was that moment where some bad memories were somewhat triggered. That incident just brought back bad memories when I was in that one group we were in, where he said he would do this at some point, or we'll bring back casual anime talk someday. And then he didn't. He would always say, "Oh, I'll get to it someday," but someday never comes. You think of all the time and effort you put into your friendship with them by indulging in their interests. Well, there were some areas where they wouldn't do the same for you, even if you tried asking nicely. They knew you wanted it. You tried to be patient with them. But despite getting your hopes up, they changed their minds. And you can't help but feel just a tad let down. To be fair, it wasn't intentional, but to see him break his promise again, it did lead to a heated argument that escalated to the point of us not really talking to each other currently. That might sound sad, but it is what it is. But honestly, I felt like I was just going through the motions with the guy. Granted, I still enjoyed his visit, but most of it was him going to his Power Rangers convention. Not that I disliked the franchise, but I was never big into it. The most we did together was dining out twice, the WB tour, and window shopping at Downtown Disney. And truth be told, I only kinda became more open to seeing the guy because he said he could only afford to come down to California and not to Chicago as well. Had he actually visited the latter first? I don't know how open I would have been then. Because that's the thing. This is someone who's tied to someone else who I haven't spoken to in years. Someone who has blocked me almost everywhere, who I have no choice but to get over and find someone new to fill the void. Maybe I finally reached a point where I'm willing to do so. But he just seems way too tied to that person. It wouldn't be fair to make him choose me over the other. But when the most honest mistake can trigger old wounds, has being his friend become much more awkward? Or is it just me? Is emotionally distancing from him my best option? Is that fair? Can that really be considered reasonable? There are even times where I think back to cases where they may have wronged me in some way. Like acting disingenuous, or breaking my trust. Or how he always says he wants to help me, but not in an area I would have really liked getting at. Then again, it's not like I've treated them any better. They say friends always come and go in your life. But this made me wonder just how many exceptions there are to that rule. Or if some friends even should be exceptions. Part of me misses him, but I doubt he feels the same way about me. Not that I blame him. I've been pretty vague about what happened to me during that fateful September 2 years ago. But let's just say certain parts of my Haruhi monologue have aged really poorly. Yeah, sorry if this turned out to be yet another depressing vlog. But it's not like I can control anything. For every hopeful high, there's always a soul-crushing low to follow, with no signs of the pattern ending. Though worst of all, given what my dad has to go through currently, it really made my future filled with even more uncertainty, and led to changes that made me start to kinda dislike being part of this job program again. Plus, with my mom's age catching up with her, they're not gonna be around forever, and my time with them might end sooner than I feared, and I still haven't gained my own independence yet. Even worse is that you don't have certain people in your life to give you comfort and moral support when it could feel really good right now. Though if there's any good that can be found in these negatives, is that they made me appreciate the positives a whole lot more. It made me look at an opportunity that I wasn't thrilled about and made me look at it with a better perspective, as it again gave me a new set of friends that I can turn to and look forward to seeing. The training and work experience is especially important for character building and getting me better luck with getting genuine work, which is more or less what I really need right now. All the compliments I get from my superiors have really helped with my confidence more, all of which made going there not so bad, given how depressing my home life became. And last but not least, All of these terrible hardships made me think of all the things I have in need, and all the friends and loved ones that are still there in my life. Though as far as resolutions go, my current circumstances gave me goals that I'll try my damnedest to get fulfilled this year. Namely, work more on my book, work more on my comic, and hopefully get it published, and get some more videos done. Now, these may sound like resolutions I've had for several other years, and they are, but again, these tough times have given me that extra motivation to actually commit to them. Besides, I actually do have some special video ideas that do sound fun to work on, especially for this year in particular. The fact that I've drawn this avatar with various poses and emotions should show more motivation. Though just in case, I'm gonna have my fingers crossed. So yeah, this year was mostly an improvement at first, but then got really awful by the end. But still better than the previous 2 years. That's just where we're at now. This year has already been off to a mixed start, so if by the most likely chance the rest of it's gonna be yet another dumpster fire, then I'll at the very least be prepared. I know I barely get comments on videos like these, but tell me what your resolutions are, and be sure to look out for me much more hopefully. This is Afro Otaku, and here's to a better new year. Bye!